and welcome to the latest of my macrame tutorials. Today I'm going to show you how to make this macrame ghost. Seeing as we're in October and you might be thinking about putting a few bits and pieces up for Halloween, I thought let's make a macrame ghost. So I am only using one knot in this design, it's the square knot. I will go through how to use this or how to make the square knot, but if you want to have a practice before you start this, then there is another tutorial on my channel which is for beginners and basic knots. Okay, so my macrame ghost, this one is slightly bigger than the one I'm going to make today. You can make them different sizes. All you need to do is just change the thickness of the cord that you use. So that one was 5mm, and then today I've gone for different colours and I'm going to make a ghost with the 3mm cord. So I am working on my cork board again with pins so I can secure as and when I need to. I've got two colour cords, so they're both 3mm, and this is the bobbiny single twist and this is the bobbiny 3-ply. So you need two different colour cords. I've got a pair of scissors, I use my Fiskars scissors, and I'm also today going to use a glue gun. Now that's just because it dries a lot quicker. You can use ordinary PVA glue or fabric glue or whatever you have in the house. However, it will just take a little bit longer to dry. Okay, so you grab everything you need, grab a cup of tea or coffee, and we'll make a start. Okay, so first of all, using my colour that I'm going to use for the actual main body of the ghost, I have cut myself 6 lengths of 1 metre. Okay, now that is going to be plenty enough, and in fact you might find we have a bit too much left at the bottom, but that's okay because that can be the ghost's you know, sort of like the fringe at the bottom. Okay, so with one of my cords I'm just going to make the ends meet, okay, like that, go back to the other end and I've got my midpoint there. Okay, and I'm just going to pin that down. That's my midpoint. Okay, and I'm going to get another cord. Okay, and this time I'm still going to find my midpoint. So make the ends meet. Okay, there's my midpoint. But this time that midpoint is going to go underneath those 2 cords. Okay, and if you notice I'm going to leave a gap here because when we put this all together that will be part of the ghost's tail, as I was saying. Okay, so get my cord straight. So my 2 holding cords are over the working cord. Now to make the square knot it's done in 2 parts, and this is how I find easy to teach it, because people remember like a little rhyme. So first of all, with my left hand cord I'm going to make an L shape. Okay, some people see it as a number 4, I see it as an L. With my right hand cord I'm going to go over that L cord, then I'm going to go underneath these 2 holding cords, and then I'm going to come up and through that L loop, and then you pull your cords both together gently, and that's the first half of your square knot. As I say, there is the tutorial that explains it slower if you need it. That's the first half. The second half, the right hand cord goes over the holding cords, and to me that's a P, so I call that one my P cord. And then my left hand cord is going to go over, under, and then it's going to come up and through. All right, so we've gone over, under, up and through. Okay, and I'm now going to continue by making another square knot. So I've got my L, then my right one over, under, up from the back and through. So it's over, under, up and through. Okay, and then my P, over, under, up and through. Okay, I'm going to keep going. And again, how many knots you do is entirely up to you, but we're going to have 3 different rows of square knots before we put them together to make the ghost. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Get into a little rhythm once you've started doing this. Okay, I think I'll just do one more. There we go. Right, so now this is going to be like the first, like the inner layer of my ghost. Okay, so we fold it like that, and this is where the glue will help. And you can see we've got these strands here. That is what is going to be the ghost's like fringe at the bottom, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now you're going to take your 2 medium length cords, okay, which was 1.50 m, and we're going to do exactly the same again. Okay, so I've got my longer cords. Oh, there we go, a bit too loud. And as I say, I'm going to do exactly the same. So find the midpoint. Go back, find your loop. Okay, that's going to be pinned down there. And then with your other cord, you're going to do exactly the same. Find the midpoint. Okay, and then that midpoint this time is going to go underneath. Okay, now what I want to do here is I'm going to leave that gap again because it's going to be sort of like the fringe for the ghost. But what we want to do is we want to do as many square knots as will fit around this ghost. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the inner row. Okay, so I'm now going to, I'll probably be about 12. Okay, so I'm going to do that now and I'll meet you when we're done. Okay, so I've done my first 2 rows of square knots, so they fit nicely together now. Okay, and you can see these long bits, they're going to be the tails or the skirt, whatever you want to call it, the fringe. And now I'm going to repeat the last row using my 2 longest cords. So these were the 2 meter cords, and again I'm going to do exactly the same, and I'm going to carry on, make my row of square knots, make sure that they fit around the second part of the ghost. Okay, and then I'll show you how to do the eyes. Okay, you carry on with that now and I'll meet you when we're done. Okay, so I have now got my 3 parts to my ghost, and I have checked that they all fit together to make the, well, it's almost like a rainbow shape, isn't it? But it's going to be like the body of the ghost, okay? And all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use a glue gun. As I said earlier, you can use alternative glue if you don't have a glue gun, but this works a lot quicker. And to be fair, this one was £5 from Hobbycraft. You can get loads of glue sticks and you can't actually go wrong with it. They're blooming great. So yeah, if you are about in Hobbycraft, or you can order online, that'd be good. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put, oh, I need to wait for the glue to melt a bit more, but I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the insides of the first layer, so they're going to stick together. Okay, so let's just see, is it heat? Have I been too impatient? No, there we go. So I don't want too much glue, but I just want enough to stick it together. There we go. All right, there we go. Just hold that for a second. There you go. Okay, once you've done the next, that layer, we're going to get the next one. Now what I tend to do is, rather than do it all in one, I do it a little bit at a time. So I'm just going to put a little bit on that part, line it up so they're level at the bottom. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit on the top. And then I shall put a little bit down this side, and then just bring them together like that. Okay, there we go. Like I say, if you're using a glue gun, they stick together quite quickly. And I'm going to repeat exactly the same for the outer layer. So again, I'm just going to start just this end, just do a little bit. Then I'll do a little bit over here, a little bit over there, and a little bit there. Okay, now don't put your glue gun away yet, because you'll need it to attach the eyes. Okay, so there's the main body of our ghost. Okay, and you can see you've got all these tailing down. You can decide what to do with those, but I'll show you how to do the eyes first. Okay, if you've got any little strings of your glue, you can just cut them off as well. Let's see, I could just see one there. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that to properly dry, and I'm going to take my darker cord for the eyes. Now this time I'm going to use a charcoal grey. I used black on the white ghost, but I just thought just be a bit different. And I'm going to take 2 lengths, and I'm going to measure 30 centimetres. Okay, so 1 and 2. Now, the eye is going to be made up of a berry knot, okay? So it's still using a square knot, it's not doing anything different, it's just made up slightly differently, okay? So I'm going to do what I normally do, make my ends meet, okay? And there we go, I'm just going to pin that to the board. And then my second cord is going to go underneath those, and I'm going to make 2.5 square knots. Okay, so I'm just going to make 2.5 square knots. You can put that on there and it pushes up there. In fact, right, so for the eye, we're going to make a berry knot, and the berry knot is made up just by using square knots again. Okay, so I've cut myself a 30 centimetre cord, and then I've cut myself a 60 centimetre cord, and I'm using the charcoal for this one, as I said earlier. So again, my midpoint, but this time my midpoint is going to go underneath the holding cords, and I'm going to make 2.5 square knots. Okay, you'll see why. So there's 1/2, just push it up. I'm not going to push it up all the way. There's my P for my second half. There's my L loop. So that's 1.5. And then that's 2. And then that's 2.5. Now we will do the P, but we'll do it in a second, I'll show you. Right, so once you've done that, you're going to take these 2 holding cords and you're going to put them through that loop, okay, from the front to the back. You put them through that loop, you pull them, and then as you can see, what it does is it pulls them to make almost like a, well, it's a berry knot, but it's almost like a ball, okay? And to secure it, this is where we do the second half of the 3rd square knot. So we're going to do my P, okay? And then that, if you pull it tight underneath your berry knot. Now, normally I would say, don't cut these cords too close, but in this case, we're going to be using it as an eye, and as I say, we're going to stick it on with our glue gun or whatever glue you're using. So I am going to cut them because I don't want to see all the bits fraying out. Oh, I need to find my razor scissors again. I think I've used them for a workshop and then I haven't finished. You can see a decent pair of scissors makes all the difference. Okay, nearly there. Right, so there I've got my berry knot, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blob of glue where I want my eye quickly before it dries with all the frayed bits at the back. There you go, stick it on where you want it to go. Now if you don't want to make macrame eyes, the berry eyes, you could, if you've got goggly eyes, you could just stick them, or you could make them out of a piece of felt, or you could use a button. It's up to you. Okay, so that is one eye. I'm going to repeat that now for my second eye, and then we'll have a look at the fringe. Okay, so here we have our completed ghost. We're going to sort the fringe out, and then I'll just show you how we can add a little hanging loop, which is super simple. So you need to decide what you're going to do with the bottom of your ghost. If you want it like short in a V like that one, which reminds me a bit like a Pac-Man ghost, or if you want to have it straight, long, short, it's entirely up to you. Okay, I'm just going to brush this out a bit. Now I'm just using my pet brush. If you've seen my tutorials before, you will have seen me use the pet brush to do this. You just have to keep turning it over, go through it. Okay. It will twist to begin with, but then once you do it, it will untwist. Okay, so let me put that straight. I'll just use my hands as well. As long as you hold your ghost whilst you're doing it, because otherwise it will pull and it will go out of shape. Okay, right, you can spend more time doing that. I'm just going to stop here. And as I say, you're going to decide how you're going to do that. And then just to finish off, we need a bit of a hanging loop. So I'm going to find one of my offcuts. Don't need much. Okay. And I'm just going to put this, oh, it's a bit long still, there we go. I'm just going to put this through one of my my cords, my square knots. Now you might need to wiggle it so you can get a gap. Just use a pair of scissors, or you could use like a tapestry needle. Okay, but again, my razor scissors are much better, but there we go. All right, and I'm just going to feed that through. Might need the scissors again to push it through. There we go. Pull it through. And there you've got your little hanging loop. Tie that where you want it. And then you are ready to go. So these are great fun to make, super simple, quick and easy, handmade decorations that again, you'll be able to bring out year after year for Halloween after Halloween, and you'll end up with a ghost collection. Right, I'm just going to finish that off. I really hope you've enjoyed this month's subscription box. If you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, I do monthly subscription boxes, and then I always film the tutorial on here for that project. If you haven't subscribed, you can always pop over to the website and order the cord if you would like to. My YouTube channel, I'm always updating regularly. I am to be updating a lot more regularly over the next coming months. So make sure you hit like, subscribe, click on the notification bell, and I will see you soon. Thanks all. Bye.